Hi, and welcome back to another installment of Living the Dream. This is our podcast here on ANTP Life, where we talk to people who've decided to relocate out of the United States into another country or another city in the world because that was one of the things that they wanted to do in their lifetime. Today's guest is George Casano, who decided to relocate to Medellin, Colombia. He's originally from New Jersey, but his family is from Colombia, and he figured that he would make his way back to Colombia to live his life here. Now, he's a little bit different of a guest than I've normally interviewed because he's a lot younger than my typical guest. He actually moved down here when he was 24 years old, still in college, and decided to call Medellin home. Now, the purpose of this podcast is really to motivate you guys back at home who are on the fence about relocating to a new city or a new country. And we really want to talk through why people decided to make the move, how they went about doing it, and maybe try to get you guys to relate with the guests that we have on so that you can determine whether or not this is the right fit for you. Thanks for coming on. For a lot of people, it's not that easy to be under the bright lights and talk in front of a camera.
Oh, no, yeah. No, it's not easy for me either, but I thought I'd give it a try. It's interesting. I like your channel. I like the content you're putting out. I know it's very niche. You get me? So it's good to get their perspective. I know I'm younger. I guess my projects are a little bit different than most people come to Medellin have going on. We could talk about it. Get a conversation.
The most important thing for me to ask anybody who decided to relocate out of the US or even out of the UK and the English-speaking countries is, why did you actually do this? Okay,
well, so before, when I was in Jersey, right, pre-COVID, taking over and becoming a real pandemic when everybody thought it was gonna blow over, I was working in banking. Then I was going to switch to a sales job in an energy company, and that ended up blowing over because of COVID. So then that's when only really option I had left was jumping into fashion, working with clothing, and Medellin, at least in Colombia. I would like to say South America as a whole, but at least in Colombia, this is the capital for any fashion goods, materials, labor, everything. So I started coming a week, 2 weeks at a time, getting familiar. Then in January 2021, I moved here from January to I think like April, maybe June. Then I went back. Before COVID, I was banking and I had jobs, and I was, kind of in my 9-to-5 college student kind of lifestyle. But once I started with the clothing, I became a little bit more independent. Entrepreneurship kind of started taking a little bit more control over my life. So then I started thinking, what am I doing in New Jersey? You got me? It's my girlfriend's over here, my family's over here. They live in Cali, but I take a plane ride. It's like 40 minutes, and I get to see my grandpa, my aunt, my family. And when I was in New Jersey, it's like I'm a 24-year-old guy. I don't want to be, I don't know how many thousand miles away from my girlfriend and things like that. So I'm like, let me see what I could do to move over to Medellin. So I was over there. She's asking me how things are going. I'm like, I'm just saving up. I'm gonna go back. So I was in Jersey. After I got back, after those 6 months over here, or like 4 months over here, I went to Jersey for like 3 months. And it was just work mode, I wasn't doing anything. If I went out, I got some great friends in Jersey. So my boy, he'll invite me out, we'll get a drink, or he'll take me to a restaurant or anything, but I'm on no cash out. Everything I'm getting in, I got plans. I'm plotting right now, so I gotta get out of here. And yeah, so then I think I landed back in July 2021, and I haven't left since. It's about to be a year I've been here straight.
So when you came the first time, is that when you met your girlfriend?
I came to Medellin. I came to Medellin to get a tat. I came to Medellin to get my tattoo. That was the first time I came because it was a really good artist, and he wasn't charging an arm and a leg like in Jersey, New York prices. So I came to get tatted, and I liked it, right? So then, when I guess you call it guys trip, in like November, a little bit pre-COVID, you get me? Came out here, liked it some more. And then once the clothing started, that was, after March 2020, that COVID really ramped up, right? That's when I decided, okay, let me go over there for a while. And that was the first long period I spent over here. And I got to see, can I actually live out here? Am I comfortable with the lifestyle? Do I feel comfortable? How am I gonna move around? And, it's a very big change for living in Jersey, And I've lived in Jersey my whole life. I've lived in the same town my whole life. I lived in Roselle 23 years, I guess. You get me, on the same block, the same house. It's a small town. It's not like Elizabeth is next door, Rahway's next door, and they're larger cities. Roselle's small. It's 2 miles square. Everybody knows everybody, and then not just being out here is I'm meeting people, but on a larger scale, I don't know anybody. It's a huge city.
Prior to you coming down for the tattoo, did you ever visit Medellin before?
Never.
Did you ever visit Colombia before?
Colombia, Cali, a lot. Well, I guess that's why I feel comfortable over here because my childhood. You get summer break from school. Those months June, July, August. I'm in Colombia. I'm in Cali for I guess like throughout middle school, and then I think I stopped coming like once I was a freshman in high school. That's when I said, okay, my mom and dad go to Cali for the whole summer. I'm lit. I got the house for the whole summer. So that's kind of when I stopped going. But then I want to get a tattoo, and I thought, hey, I haven't been to Colombia in a while. I should go. When I came for the tattoo thing, I came to Medellin, and then I went to Cartagena, just kind of vacationing around. But I definitely prefer Medellin 100 times than living in Cartagena. I love Cali. Cali's home to me, my family. But I would prefer over here. I guess on a living base, I prefer over here. Probably move my family over here.
I've never been to Cali. That's one of the big cities in Colombia that I haven't visited. How would you say Cali is different than Medellin? How is it similar?
Cali is very different. Me and my girlfriend went. She's from she's born and raised Paisa her whole life, but she's never been to Cali either, right? And I took her to Cali, and she told me that she felt like she stepped back in time a little bit because over there it's not. Over here we got like I came here in Tranvía and Metro, right? Over there's no system like that. There's no transportation system like that. They have one bus system called El Mio that kind of tries to connect the city, but it does what it can, but it's not like over here. It's a lot of traffic. And that's really like the best way to put it out. You put like you step back in time a little bit. It's like Colombia a little bit before this kind of more modern progress. Mm-hmm. But it does have this very like this charm to it. Cali has a nice little charm to it. People over there are very like festive. They like dancing. Salsa is very big over there. So you see everybody dancing from super young to 90 years old. My grandpa's 94 years old. His birthday was recently, and he's still active. He has like a large garden, like the backyard, and he all the time. The other day he fell. He tried to just play it out like I ain't falling. Like I'm good. Trying to play with me like that, but yeah. But Cali it's interesting. It's a bit more it's less big city feeling. It's more relaxed, more what they would call over here like pueblos. And it's not hilly like this. The camera picks up the view. It's super hilly over here. Over there it's flat, full flat terrains. Everywhere you go is just flat, dry flat. But yeah, Cali's great. Cali's great. It's very hot also.
Now, what made you choose Medellin versus Cali? Considering that your family is from Cali, you're familiar with Cali, you spent your summers there. Your girlfriend was from here, but what was it about Medellin that kind of rang through for you? Was it the fact that the fashion industry is here and the manufacturing industry is here, or was it something else? That's a large part. My girlfriend's a large part. The fashion industry and the way it moves over here is a large part. Although you can find that in Cali also, but over here I guess it's more rambunctious per se. It's more robust. But also just I guess the quality of lifestyle. If you were to move from New Jersey to Cali, it's a lot more of a culture shock. It's a lot more of even for somebody that's been there as much as I've been. Because I go over there, I feel comfortable, I'm fine. Same over here, but it is much more of a culture shock. They're a little bit more behind than Medellin is. Bogotá is this huge metropolis. It's a very large city. They say it's like 3 Medellins. I'm not sure if that's I think in
factual.
Population, it's close, so.
But it's huge. You got me. So they have a lot of resources per se with just sheer population. Might say that they're overpopulated, and that's why they have some of the problems they have. Medellin, also with a couple problems here and there, but I guess they're a little bit less densely populated, but they seem to be producing. They seem to be putting some money into the city. And I used to take the train from Rosa Parks to North, go to school. Over here, I take the train from where I live. I take like a top trolley kind of train to a centro. If I have to move from there, I'll hop on another train. I can't do that in Cali. And I don't have a car, I don't have a motorcycle yet. So I guess moving around, just a lot of lifestyle things, going out, The city overall, the views, the buildings, you get me? All of it is beautiful. It's very easy to kind of, I guess you could say, like fall in love with Medellin when you come here. I remember when I first came here, when I came to get that tattoo, and I got off on the airport, and that drive, you got me? The guy took a drive, and it was like through the mountains, and you could see the city, you got me? Mm-hmm. I'm like, damn, it's nice. But yeah, it feels like I didn't move too much, away from Jersey, New York, and all that stuff, because I guess because they had the buildings, the trains, the people, a lot of cars, people up and down, a lot of stuff going on. Because I work with clothing order, I have to go to a centro a lot. You get me? So I get a lot of different tastes of Medellin, because there's poblado, and you get me? It's very developed, and what they say over here, estrato, you got me? Mm-hmm. Estrato 6 and all of that. But when you go to the centro, it's nitty gritty over there still. You got me? You gotta know how to move, and it's interesting. I like going to the center because I get a lot of different. And then I live in Buenos Aires, which is it's in the middle. You got me? It's kind of how I like it, because when I used to live, I lived in Sabaneta, I lived in Envigado. I never lived in Poblado, but I lived in Laureles, and I kept, I guess, going to places where like high estrato and is living and all that. But it's like the trains are far because everybody has cars, and it's like, man, I feel like this isn't my style, because I growing up in Roselle it's not, it's like, it's like middle class, lower middle class maybe, but people over there, they take care of themselves, but it's like relax, you get me? And there's people outside and all that. I was living in a building in Envigado, it was a Forensi, something like that, Fusa Forensi, and I'll just go downstairs, you get me, outside, and it's just nobody, you get me? It's like that, it's a couple cars passing by, but it's no people, it's no vendors and stuff like that. Now where I live every day is like a guy selling fish, a guy selling mazamorra, they're yelling about pescado, their clinics are like bringing out like trucks, like giving out vaccines, so there's just a whole lot of things going on. So you step outside, and I think I appreciate that a little bit more, being out here.
Gotcha. Yeah, for me, you touched on something that kind of resonates with me. When you come here for the first time, it's a city that feels good. Like from your arrival point to
definitely.
Coming down into the town, the mountains, the greenery, the views, it has a charm and an appeal to it. And kind of like you being from New York City, I like that there's a sense of energy here. There's movement. You can move around. People are kind of working. But unlike New York, the people here are like nicer.
Yeah, of course.
Right? They're
a lot
friendlier.
nicer.
Yeah, just generally happier. Anytime I'm back in New York, I'm like, oh my God, I can't stand it.
Yeah.
Because people are impolite. No one holds a door. Nobody tells you good morning. I'm walking around like wishing people good morning, making small talk, and everybody's looking at me like,
yeah, like who's this guy? That's what happened to me when I went, after those months here, and I went back those 3 months in Jersey. I'm like, everybody's so cold shoulder with everything, and just like everybody, in the States, everybody just go all the time. You get me? They don't have time to help. They don't have time to be polite. Time to hold the door or anything like that. I was even like that when I came here at first. I was still a little bit too in my Jersey ways. Yeah, a little bit too northeast with things. It was a time I was in a club with my girlfriend, and this guy, Tabby, he's just a nice guy. He's like, why on earth are you touching me? Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's just like, I'm sorry. I was like, I'm like, oh, I felt bad. Like when the guy like I'm like, oh man, I feel like a jerk. Yeah. I feel like a jerk at the moment, but it's differences in culture. Over there it's a little bit uncomfortable. You're not expecting somebody to just come and just grab your shoulder. Like they know like they're your friend, but I think the guy wanted to like invite me to a beer or something. I don't know. He just grabbed me like a friend, but I didn't know him. Yeah. So I got defensive that was like my first month over here, 2 months over here.
Isn't that crazy that being in and around New York City, you're kind of conditioned to have your guard up in a way? Yeah. Where if you're in a nightclub and somebody reaches over and grabs you by the shoulder, it's usually a problem.
It's 9 times out of 10 it's a problem.
It's usually a problem.
Especially if you're like in a club and like I said, like it gets even worse for me because my town is, like I said, 2 miles square. It's small, everybody. So it gets real, I don't want to say regional, but real like I know I know my group of people, you feel me? And I speak with my group of people, and I know that no harm is gonna come my way. This group of people, you got me? And then when you start feeling like outside influences, you get your guard up because you don't know what could happen, you know? Because, you know, they say, you know, we as Americans, you know, people in America always say like, oh, Brazil is dangerous, or Colombia is dangerous, or Medellin is dangerous, or history in the past, but Jersey's dangerous too. New York is dangerous. Like this, you know, when I used to go to, when I was going to school, when I was going in campus in Newark, I took night classes because I worked at the bank. So I had to go night, you know, and I'm getting out 9, 10 o'clock, and I'm taking the train there because I don't feel like driving or paying for parking, none of that, right? That walk from the campus to Penn Station at 10, 11 at night in Newark is tense. It's super tense. I haven't felt tense like that over here. Maybe once or twice. But yeah, it gets tense. And people are careful in the States. People are careful. People don't, you know, you have neighbors you never talk to. I'm sure you get me. Like, I know I'm that way. I have some neighbors I never talk to unless they, you know, went to school with them or something. But yeah, no, it's very different over here.
Do you find that, like, in people who do comment about Colombia being dangerous or Brazil being dangerous or any place that's not America being dangerous, do you think they have a real reason to think that way? Or do you think maybe because you came from Jersey and you had your experiences that you didn't feel that sense of danger? Because like you said, walking through Newark at 10, 11 p.m., especially downtown Newark, even though it's getting better over there.
Yeah, it's getting better, improving.
It's not comfortable, right? As you said.
No.
And you need to know how to move and kind of watch yourself in a way. Because you grew up in that environment, do you think that kind of softened the transition here? Or do you just think, generally speaking,
nah,
people are nice here?
I definitely think it softened the transition, you know, a lot. Because, at least where I live, you got me? Because Polao, Envigado, anybody, if you come here and visit, it's very different. Sabaneta, La Estrella, beautiful big high rises, you got me? You go to where I'm living right now at the moment, we don't have this view. It's very different. That's when I came here, I told you the views in Medellin get real different because my view is still it's a little rugged from my bedroom still, you got me? So it's helped me, I guess my life experience has helped me. There's a book, right, called Unfair Advantages. And this is the way you grow up, your personal experiences is giving you an unfair advantage. And I guess I would kind of fall into that category, giving me feeling comfortable over here. So it's like, you know, like those walks in Newark, my walks in Buenos Aires don't feel so dangerous. And on top of that, me being able to speak the language like a native, they're not picking up on my accent so fast. They might, but when I was in the centro looking at fabrics, you got me, this one dude picked up on my accent. So I was I tried to play back with him like, oh no, you trying to tell me I'm gringo, so you could mark me up. I'm out of here. You trying to charge me. I'm out of here. So I just, you know, left it at that. But you don't want to put that on a billboard. You got me?
Yeah.
That you're a foreigner trying to figure things out here. You know, it's like what you're saying. You got to know how to move. But I think back to what you're saying about people who haven't been here, feeling like it's dangerous and all that. I guess part of it is knowing how to move so you don't feel like you're in danger. And also another part of it is just people are ignorant, and not in a bad way. They never been there. You got me? You know, you grew up in North Carolina, you've been to Texas, you've been in Los Angeles, you've been you're still in America, you feel comfortable. I've been in Vegas and Los Angeles and all, and I felt, you know, fine. It's not that much of a difference.
You ever been robbed here?
No.
You've been robbed in the States?
No.
Okay.
Well, I lied. I kind of got robbed here. I bought like some fried chicken, right? And it was like, all right, I left my house around like 4 a.m. to get I was very hungry. I was starving. And at this time, I was living in a different part in Buenos Aires where you walk a block down, it's the clubs and all that stuff, and people, you know, the vendors selling food still and all that. And it was on the weekends. I'm like, oh, all right, it's lit. There's still food out. So I go get some fried chicken. I pass the dude like a 20, and it was like 5 mil, something like that. So I'm waiting for my 15 back, and he gives me back a 10 or something. So I gave him like 10, so he gave me back the 5. I'm waiting for my 15, if I'm doing that math right, I think, on the whip, right? And he's like, oh no, you didn't give it to me, like, you gave me 10. I'm like, I'm 100% sure. He's trying to tell me like, oh, you just came out the club, like, you've been drinking, this and that, like, what are you going? I'm like, Like, cause I came out the house, like I came out of bed. I was just starving, being up too late, like working on things. I'm drunk or anything like that. I haven't drank. None of that. Like, give me my, you feel me? And it got to a point where I'm like, I'm not about to go back and forth with this guy because I'm losing my temper, and it's people around. You got me?
Yeah.
You know how it is when you rob over here. Like the situation could get tense.
Yeah.
You know, and so if I look like the drunk guy that just left the club giving this vendor a hard time, things would get tense for me. So I was like, you know, let's keep the little change or whatever. But that was the closest thing to like getting robbed over here. But I have had situations where I've been, you know, stopped. Like people ask me like what I'm doing in a certain section. You got me, and stuff like that. But I guess knowing how to respond to these questions, you know, my girlfriend plays a big role in that too. I guess, and talking about making the transition easier. Mm-hmm. My girlfriend, her family been key, I guess. Honestly, they've been my family over here. You get me? It's like most expats come and they don't have like family or like people like that love, support them, take care of them. You get me? I landed to that. Fortunately, you got me. On my return, you know, because I met her that January. Mm-hmm. I met her January going into February. We've been living together since, literally. So the only time we stopped was when I had to go back and, you know, run it up real quick and come back. So, but she, you know, she lets me know, yo, over here, it's hot. Over here, it's relaxed. There was like some news, you know, there's been some Colombian news about, you know, some stuff going on. And that, you know, sometimes that makes things get a little, they start acting up, you get me?
Yeah.
And I felt that where I'm living. We definitely felt that. So she's helped a lot in just how to move, where to be at, where not to be at, what times are okay, all that stuff. And she's a very big, you know, caregiver a lot.
Gotcha. So,
and again, like her family's the same way. Before I was going to the center running around on my own, figuring things out, she would accompany me, her mom, her stepfather would, you know, they'll accompany me, and they show me a lot. Gotcha. How to manage the city and all that, yeah.
Cool. You touched on something, kind of, you glossed over it, and I think it helps to speak to like the how you can live here sort of question, and how do you go about making that transition from the States to Medellin. You mentioned something about the estratos, right? The stratuses.
Estratos. Yeah, of
right?
course.
So those are like kind of like a class system.
Yeah, there's like their social class system over here, right?
Right.
Like socioeconomic class.
So you mentioned how where you're currently living is a different class system than Envigado or Poblado.
Yeah.
Exactly how would you kind of explain that to an American who's never heard that before?
I would explain it like I went from living in, let's say, like Short Hills to like North kind of situation. You got me to real suburban, real socioeconomic, you know, on the, I call it middle class, a little upper class. And you got me, you know, Colombia's still a third world country, right? The
third world thing, some people go crazy about that expression.
Yeah.
But the worlds are kind of a post-World War II sort of concept, where the first world countries were anyone that was like anti-communist, and then the second world was like the communist, and the third world was anybody who just didn't take a side.
Oh, okay.
Right. That's actually the history of.
That's where that came from. I thought it had like a socioeconomic kind of background kind of to it.
It does, because if you didn't get down and pick a side, then you were excluded from
the money in war and all that, right?
Yeah, exactly. So usually third world countries are kind of expected to be impoverished and that sort of thing. But
of course,
you could use the term, but I've used the term before, and people went in on me.
Yeah.
What do you mean third world country? Blah blah blah. But Colombia is definitely a developing country.
Yeah, there we go.
And it's going to have its socioeconomic mismatches.
That's a perfect term to take out, to take out the politics and first, yeah. All right, so a developing country, right?
Yeah.
And there's expensive Benzes and Audis, and Mercedes and just BMWs and motorcycles that cost a lot of money and all that, in a certain area, you feel where you're at in a way. These buildings, they're high rises, 27 floors. I stayed on a 27th floor at one point in Sabaneta, and it's beautiful view. It's very high in living to be in a developing country.
And what estrados would that be?
That when I was in Envigado side, those were all estratos 6, and 5, all of them. Well, I could basically say estratos 6, all of them. Okay. And especially in Envigado, Sabaneta, and yeah. So now where I'm living in Buenos Aires, depends on the area you're in. It could bounce from estrato 4 and 3, roughly. Mm-hmm. I think my section particularly is estrato 3.
So that would be like middle class Colombian.
Middle class to
the Colombian population. Yeah, but not middle class by American standards.
Yeah, of course. But middle class to kind of lower to middle class. You get me? Like we're making ends meet, but we're working a lot. Like my sister-in-law, I guess you would say. And her husband, they work a lot. And they take care of themselves and all that, but they work a lot. So it's it is that middle class kind of tier, I guess you would say, but it does require a lot of work to be there here. It's not like you work a 9 to 5 and you could be in a middle class or even upper middle class here how you could in the States.
The cool thing about the stratuses or the estratos is that they also flex your utilities cost. Right?
Yeah.
What you pay for services varies based on the social economic class that you fall in. So you pay more if you're in a higher class neighborhood, and you pay less if you're in a lower class neighborhood. So I guess to kind of subsidize costs for people, make it more affordable.
No, yeah, I think that's great. I think they should enforce that. In a lot of places, because it's tough to leave people without water or energy and things like that. You got me? And that shouldn't be solely based off capitalism and who has the money to pay for those things. And now there's certain needs that get very basic: food, water, shelter, energy. Just super simple things that everybody should have access to. And of course, I'm not saying everybody has access to it over here, because I know
it gets lower.
Of course not. Yeah, it gets. You feel me? It's I have family over here that they live in Invasion, which is an Invasion is okay, so here's the city, when they're mapping and planning the city, okay, this is the perimeter and all that, and they're we're just gonna make a shack over here up in the mountains, and we're gonna, how people used to steal cable, we're gonna steal the water somehow, and then we're gonna make our own system.
It's a shanty town, or how the favelas are in Brazil. It's literally lawless occupancy of land.
Yeah, I have. When I'm working with the clothing, right? One of my cousins that lives over here, that she's a cut and sew Picasso. I don't even know how to call her. She's amazing. I love working with her. Her hands are great when she's working, right? And her mom, she lives in Invasion, and when I go over there, I have to call and let them know, because when I get there, they have to be either ready to receive me or let the people outside know, my little cousin's coming, and don't press him. Don't bother him, because my little cousin's coming, about to get some work in. Yeah. But now they know me over there. When I first got here, obviously it's and she stressed that to me. She's when you get over here and you get off that metro and you about to come up on a taxi, don't come up before you call me, so I could be there for you. But yeah.
Gotcha. So now, when you first came, actually, let me take it back just a bit, because your parents are born in Colombia and Colombian citizens. Are you also a Colombian citizen?
No, not yet.
Do you have official residency? How are you?
No, I'm here.
You're here.
I'm here. Gotcha. But no, I came over here with my paperwork. I'm still working through some things. Okay. Because that's another thing in a developing country. The errands aren't the smoothest. I went to the centro. They made me wait 3 hours. Mm-hmm. A good 5 to 6 people saw the papers that I was trying to get done, and they waited to the last lady that had to help me to tell me, oh, we can't help you because your papers are foreign and you need a
translation or something.
Yeah, you need I've been here so long, I forget English, a cita. an appointment. There you go. I needed an appointment. So I'm like, oh, all right. So now I have to go back. But because my mom and my dad both are Colombian citizens, and they have their citizenship over there now too, so they manage the dual citizenship. Mm-hmm. I was born in Jersey, so I didn't get any Colombian paperwork. And when my mom told me, right, mom always knows best. She told me when I was like 12, like, get your Colombian paperwork, you'll need it one day. Like, what am I gonna need that for? I live over here. Yeah, I live over here. Like, you guys left Cali the efficient way. Now you guys want me to get my papers over there like we're going back. I don't understand.
And here you are.
Yeah, here I am. Here I am. So because of that, I just had to get some documents done. I did them over there in Newark with the embassy in Newark. And I forgot what building. It was like this notary. You need to get an apostille, right? Yeah. And I had to do that in Philly, I think it was, or somewhere in Pennsylvania. And then with those paperwork, I flew over here. So now over here, I have to process that paperwork, and then they'll give me my cedula. And after I get my cedula, I could get my passport and all that, and then.
Gotcha. So does it work a little bit differently for you because of the Colombian heritage, or?
Yes, okay, definitely. Because I've seen roughly like the requisites for getting your visa, and it has to be like through business or.
I'm going through the business side of it myself. Yeah. Taking longer than I would like, but they're blaming COVID, they're blaming all kinds of stuff, and the bureaucracy is so silly. Like, I had to make an investment, and I wasn't sure what the exact exchange rate was going to be for that investment. So I sent more money than the requirement because I didn't know how the exchange rate was going to hit. So I was like, let me just pad it. They start processing my paperwork. And they're like, oh, the amount that's being claimed on your document plus the amount that's being held by whatever bank is holding the money doesn't match. So it's a problem. It's like, yeah, it's more than what it is. It's like, yeah, no, it needs to match. Or we need to change the paperwork. Or it's like...
Yeah, and it's like that here with a lot of things. You know, like when I was registering a business with the Cámara de Comercio, right? Mm-hmm. I had to register because, well, another thing, unlike most people that move over here from the States and all that, I still make money with physical products. You know what I mean? I'm still not fully like virtual, like just doing a project management online or just consulting online or just digital goods, all these things. And these are all things I have projects, in the works to put out, mainly courses. Mm-hmm. Because, it's a lot of learning when you do a lot of these things, and especially learning a lot with the fashion stuff in the center and all that. But I still sell products. I still make products here. Like I said, and my cousin, we get the cut and sewing. We'll get that going on. I'll be there cutting. She'll sew them up, and then I'll pack them and I'll ship them out of here.
So that's how you support yourself?
That's how,
here.
Yeah.
Okay, so
that's part of it. Mm-hmm. Mainly, there's a store in Roselle called Chain of Command, right? Mm-hmm. And they started roughly around the same time I started kind of playing around with the fashion stuff. They kind of started having, like, you call it a retail shop, but they curate it. Okay. And it's a great shop. You get me? And they started buying, they were the first people to buy from me in bulk.
Gotcha.
So they'll order X amount of bags at once. They'll order X amount of bucket hats or whatever at once. And that's kind of when I started kind of looking more into, like, I like making in bulk and selling in bulk than selling person because
you make a little bit more money on the direct to consumer or the retail stuff.
Definitely, yeah.
But the bulk makes it easier.
I think it's like the business side of me that just kind of just gets drawn to bulk orders and factories and just kind of just trying to scale and expand it.
Gotcha.
So I started noticing that. I'm like, oh, yeah, I got to go get to where it's cheap. I got to get to the source. So
when it comes to your cost of living here, right? You've lived in the different neighborhoods, whether it's the upper class neighborhoods to now the middle class neighborhood. What is your current cost of living?
Cheap. My current cost of living is pretty cheap. Well, in American standards, you got me? Yeah. Because right now my rent is like 800,000 pesos.
Like 200.
Like 200, right?
And what kind of apartment is that?
It's a 2-bedroom, and it has like you come in, it's the kitchen, living room, a bedroom, and then I wouldn't call it like a terrace, but it's like a second floor, and that's like, it's no room, it's just like straight, like I guess you call it like a backyard kind of situation. So it's like that, and it's on the 3rd floor. But there's no, like high rise commodities. You get me? It's not like there's a sauna and like a gym and all that.
Basic apartment.
Yeah, it's like if you were back in Jersey, New York, and there's like a townhouse that is a multifamily, something like that.
Okay.
But it's comfortable, and I guess for me, you know, I feel like maybe somebody who's not as ingrained in the culture might maybe feel a little bit not uncomfortable because the people are very welcoming. They're nice, you know. As long as you're not
causing trouble.
Yeah, as long as you're not causing trouble, you know. My mom has a saying, it's in Spanish, but she always tells me, el que está quieto se deja quieto, and that goes both ways. You feel me? Like if somebody is not bugging nobody, just leave bro alone. You get me? Like he's good. He's not bothering nobody. So I kind of stick to that, you know. And I like to lead with respect. You got me? So
gotcha.
They reciprocate it over here. I won't say 100% of the time.
So $200 for a 2-bedroom apartment. Your girl lives with you?
Yeah.
She works too?
She works also.
Okay. And what would you say like your utilities cost? Water, electricity, internet?
Well, we just paid a utility bill yesterday, actually, so it's perfect. It was 157,000. So let's round it, like let's say 200, yeah, like $40 maybe.
And that's for electricity and water?
Electricity, water, and gas. Yeah,
gas.
And gas. There you go.
And then what about your internet?
Internet is 75 me.
Like $20.
Yeah, like $20, $25.
$20. And what speed?
200 Mbps or something like
200
that.
200 megabytes per second?
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not too much of a techie guy, but
Gotcha.
That's what when I found the flyer, when I saw the flyer, it said 200.
Gotcha. Okay, so that's solid internet speed.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good internet speed.
That's good. And then what about like for your food, entertainment, like?
Oh, I'm lucky, right? So I know a lot of people eat out. Mm-hmm. My girlfriend cooks crazy. Okay. Yeah, like and was like my girlfriend cooked like her mother. You know, like she cooks like she cooks like she's 40 or something. I don't know. She cooks amazing. So I eat a lot at home. And over here you could go grocery shopping at like a Carulla and pay a lot of money. Or like if you go to like your local supermarket, you're not gonna spend too much. So I would say for 2 people, eating good, because we could be a little bit of foodies in the house, you know, like we like eating. So about 300,000 pesos, you're good for like a bi-weekly. Like let's say you're buying your groceries bi-weekly, you got me? 300,000 pesos at a good supermarket will get you a lot.
So that's like $80 a week.
Like, yeah, I guess we could say like
$80 every 2 weeks.
Yeah, because the exchange went up a little bit, right? We're living in good times right now.
And right now the exchange rate is good, dollar-wise.
Yeah, so how it is right now, like $80. Yeah, 300,000 pesos for two people, and we have a dog too, Benny. So
3 miles to feed.
Yeah, Benny eats a lot. Jesus Christ, that dog. He weighs 54 pounds. He's like a little English bulldog, and he
eats.
Yeah, he eats.
Gotcha. So what would you say is like the all-in, like monthly budget, like that you would say is in? I think like the way I'm living right now, I don't think I spend more than 1,200 a month American, right? Yeah. And that's like your entertainment. Yeah, that's local travel.
Yeah, going to Cali, or you know, I have a girlfriend, so we gotta do things. We go out, going out to eat. How much do you think that would cost you in the States? The same lifestyle? The same lifestyle in the States will cost me. Well, my rent would be 1,000 or 1,200, or like 1,500 or something like that. Even if I stay exactly where I was at, you know, back home, because I feel like my lifestyle over here is a little bit maybe more exciting. You know what I mean? I feel like I do more stuff over there. It was just, you know, bank, school, work, bank, school, work, bank, school, work. Over here, I'm like, you know, like, what are we doing? You got me, like, and it's fun going out. Where do you think? I feel like that, like 4,000. Like 4,000. Like 4,000. Okay. And that's me probably having less fun. You got me, like 4,000, but pulling back a little bit, because rent by itself will be like 1,000, 1,500. Gotcha. Internet's gonna be like, well, how much is files again? I forgot. Files is expensive. It's like 100, $120. $120, and then the cell phone. I know Sprint loves taxing, so you know they charge a whole arm and a leg on the phone bill. You know, we've had phone bills hit like $400 before, literally for like a family of 4 or 3 people. It's just like
easily.
It's like Jesus Christ. But yeah, so yeah, I would say about 4,000.
And that's for a family of two
adults, 2.5.
2.5.
Yeah, 2.5. Yeah, me, my girlfriend, and our dog Benny. Good old Benny.
Did you have any problems kind of like setting up your financial accounts, like a bank account and those sort of things?
Yeah, I have to be honest. You gotta be being on here. Like I said, my situation is so specific because, you know, I've had like Wells Fargo accounts, you know, your major banks over there. Yeah. And I've had them, you know, shut a card down because I kept swiping in Colombia or ATM or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I might get jammed up, but I'll get a Western Union sent to my girl or sent to her mom or something like that. And then I'll figure it out like that. Most anything when I'm moving money, making payments or anything like that, most of it is online. So I don't need, you got me? Mm-hmm. But in the case where I do need cash or something, I don't really like going to the ATMs anymore. One, because of the fees, and then just because I hate when my card gets locked and then I have to call and all that stuff. So if I'm gonna use any cash, I'll just have it sent. Usually Western Union or some sort of agency that sends it. I'll have it sent to somebody I love and trust over here. Mm-hmm. And we've been managing like that. But just, you know the online banks now, like Betterment, Ally, mm-hmm. Those are key. Also, those help a lot because you can manage your money very easily online. You got me? If something happens with one of your accounts in the States, it's like a Chase account, they want you to go into the bank or something. Well, Betterment, everything is online. You know, so finance-wise, it's kind of how I manage it. Paperwork and all that kind of stuff, you know, to be honest, you know, and when you get to know the people over here, you understand why they're like that when they try to charge you the gringo up mark. You know, it's like, understand, because the disparity, you know, in our dollar compared to their peso, it's like, it's nothing to us, but to them it makes such a difference. You got me? Right. Like I said, with $200, I'm living very well, you know, in my opinion. You got me? It might not be with all the glitz and glamours that other people need, but I'm a more simple guy in general. With just $200, you know, you could get an apartment like that over here. Right. So over there, it's like, $200 can't get me a new pair of like sneakers that I really feel. You get me? Like $200 isn't gonna get me a lot, but over here, $200 gets
your housing.
Yeah. So when they try to push for that a little bit more, it's because it can make a big difference in their life. Yeah. But because of that, I have ran into that. I have ran into people wanting deposits on apartments for 16 months when it's like 12-month contract. I'm like, what on earth? Like, what do you want to like?
But it's helpful, like, that you have a local partner, right? Because they have the cedula, which is the official ID. She has a job, so she might be able to show money movement.
Things is at the moment while I'm still getting my things settled out, and things are going in her name, you know, mm-hmm. and that works fine for us. It also depends, I guess, on that trust that you have with your partner, you know, because just like everywhere, you know, in America, in Colombia, in Brazil, or anything, you meet people, you have relationships. Some relationships are come and go, mm-hmm. you know, like what they say over here, pasajero, you know, it's for the moment. And then some other relationships, they're solid, you know, they have foundation, and things like that. So me with my girlfriend, it's like, maybe it's not the most comfortable for another person, another expat coming over here that might have a girlfriend, right? Mm-hmm. But he might feel like, I'm not putting everything in her name, because what if, you know, when you tell her you get out this apartment, you get me, it's her name, she go, I'm going to pay for this penthouse, I'm going to prepay it for a year. Yeah. Because, you know, I can, I guess, you know, some people can. Yeah. I'm going to just prepay this penthouse for a year and this and that, and you know, love of your life kicks you out, you know? So I guess it goes case by case, but I've always known, you trust your gut and your instinct, and I know who looks out for me. I know who takes care of me over here, and I have people try to take advantage too, and I've caught that also. You know, I made friends that have came and went while I've been over here, because you know, they try to take advantage in certain ways. You know, and just but it get a little weird.
It's because of the perceived opportunity. It's no different than being wealthy in the States. You're gonna have family that tries to hit you up, or they don't know anybody else who might have the means. So you're him.
Yeah, of course.
And it's just like, well, I got this idea for a business, or I need to have this surgery, or whatever comes up. But you're the only person that they know that might have it.
No, yeah,
so then you end up being the draw, or the person that they go to, and it happens more frequently. So like for me, I understand it happens stateside for me, but it's just a byproduct of what you represent to that person.
Yeah, of course.
More so than it is like really being malicious.
Yeah, and that's the thing. What you're saying also, like, to represent, right? Because if my girl asks me for something, if her mom asks for something, you got me, or her sister's husband, if I can make it happen, I'll make it happen. I'm not even gonna think about it.
Picking up and moving into a new country isn't for everybody, right? We talked about the difficulties with getting your residency, maybe banking issues because your card's getting shut down left and right.
Getting a lease for an apartment.
Getting a lease for an apartment can be
crazy,
difficult.
Yeah.
It's not so easy to just pick up and relocate somewhere. And I find, like, as I talk to different expats, they kind of have a similar personality where they're highly, like, malleable. They're pretty flexible. In your opinion, like, what kind of personality traits does somebody need to have in order to make that transition from the States to
Medellin specifically, right?
Medellin, yeah.
Because I haven't traveled too much the world, but I've been in Colombia a lot, in Medellin, and I feel like, listen, my friends come visit me, and they have a ton of fun. You get me? They have a blast. They enjoy themselves. Whatever steam they had to blow off from Jersey and all that, they blow it off when they get over here. I think anybody who is interested in a change, potentially it's a drastic change, but if you really want to change, you want to enjoy your life. You want to. I don't believe that we were meant to live in one spot forever. I'm not gonna be in Medellin forever. I'll be here for a while. I'll probably always be coming, but I would like just to move around in general. So I feel like somebody who wants to explore a little bit, somebody interested, I guess, in just getting to see what life has to offer them. They're willing to take a risk a little bit, because obviously it's a risk moving to a different country. You get me? It's not like you're moving to Georgia. I'm not going to Atlanta from New Jersey.
Right.
So somebody who, I guess you could say, daring to a certain extent, because there's a way to plan it out. If you're a little bit less daring, then don't do it how I did it, which I went 3 months, see what I could do. I'll come over here and I'll make it happen. You know what I mean? And some people plan for like a year, but I feel like Medellin has something to offer for everybody. You know what I mean? You could find, if you're a person that likes to have a cup of coffee and drink, read a book, just relax, you could find a very nice cafe that's quiet and calm. If you're like a very big party goer and you just want wild party, you can find that too.
You can find that for sure.
Yeah, and everything in the middle, you get me? So you can find everything.
Yeah. When you told me how young you were, at least in your mind, you might not feel too young.
Yeah, no, yeah.
For me, 24 is a long time ago. And the first time I thought about living outside of the United States, a story I tell all the time, is like, I probably was about 27. Went to Thailand for the first time, and I was like, man, I could live here.
Yeah.
But for me, automatically, it was like, for the lifestyle that I want, I need to make X amount of dollars passively from the United States. I don't want to have to figure out how to make my money when I'm there. And like you're saying, like, different strokes for different folks, where, depending on what kind of lifestyle you want, depending on how much risk you want to take, the plan is going to be different.
Yeah, of course.
You came 3 months.
Yeah, 3 months worth of savings, and
yeah, that's maybe that's like a younger person thing to do, right? Because like, I get it. Because I would be insecure to do something like that.
Because you have a family, right?
I have a family now, but even then, I didn't have a family. I didn't have any kids. And I was like, nah, I need to make this much money because that's how much it's going to cost me to live comfortably. And I want to make that in the United States. I'm not trying to figure out how to make money here. Like when I was thinking of Thailand. So when people kind of like you, that's to me impressive to be able to say, hey, I'm gonna see what happens, right? Because at the end of the day, you're not gonna just get stuck here, right?
Yeah, I was thinking, it's like, because I didn't think I'm gonna go back to the States. It wasn't in my plans, but I did think like, okay, I have what I have, and if things work out and I don't work out and I have to go back, I'll go back. and I'm gonna run the same play. I'm gonna save up another 3 months, and I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna try again. Because me personally, my life is like at a point where I don't have kids. And I don't have any. Yeah, I don't have anything like it's too rooted that I can't move around. You get me?
It's almost ideal. The ideal time to try something like this, right? Because at the end of the day,
and that's what I thought also.
If you fall on your face and it doesn't work out, all right, well, I'm gonna fly back, and I can regroup. I'll find a job in the States.
I've always thought I'm like, if I end up back in the States, and at least I there's something where I feel like I speak with a lot of people, and I feel like I'm living a very unique experience. You get me? And I feel like that's kind of like the best thing you could get out of life, because there's a lot of paths, and there's successful paths, and I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with it. You go into investment banking. For a long time, investment banking was my dream. You get me? For a long time, McKinsey & Company consulting was my dream. And you start to live a little bit, you start to explore, and then you start to have a taste for different things. And like I said, I was young, and I guess I also didn't want to like lose my moment. You get me? I'm like, man, these bags are selling, so let me just take advantage while I don't have a boss and I don't have to work at the bank anymore, and I can move around. Let me just take advantage of
that freedom.
While it's still hot, you get me? Yeah, so I'm gonna just take advantage of that freedom and see what I can make happen.
Now, I get a few people who ask me about dating culture here and what is it like, how do you meet women, etc. Right? This is like a common comment, that I
definitely
get. You've dated in the United States, obviously. You're dating here now. What would you say is like the difference between like your typical American, like nobody's typical, but like your dating experience with an American woman and your dating experience with a Colombian woman?
I think my girlfriend played a big part in my rush to get back a little bit. To be honest, not even a little bit, because like I said, we were living together those months. You know what I mean? So I go from living with somebody these 4 to 6 months, and now I'm back in Jersey, and I'm in my apartment alone. And I'm trying to do things that a lot of people my age aren't really trying to do. I'm trying to move to a different country, and I'm trying to structure out a supply chain network, and I'm trying to figure out the best way to do logistics between Colombia and the States and all these things. And like, when you got a lot of things going on and your mind is so busy, you just want somebody that helps you relax and kind of just take the stress off. And that's kind of like caregiving and all that stuff. And I feel like over there, like I've had girlfriends over there, you got me? But I never lived with nobody. This is my first time living with somebody. It's completely different. And I guess it's more, it's more commitment, obviously, but it's more reward to it also, you got me? Because anything I got going on, like I count on somebody, you got me, that's gonna be solid. Now, if you're dating, I'm sure like you've been dating somebody and you've been dating them a few months and they might run into the gym and it's like, damn, I like you. But, that sounds like a you problem. That sounds like a personal problem for you. I'm sorry, but, you're sweet. You're a sweetheart, but no. And then there's other people that will really like get into get out the mud with you, like
did
really work it out.
Did you find it difficult to connect?
Like, again, my experience is very different because my girlfriend listens to Wu-Tang and you get me, and DOS effects, and exactly. So when I met her, we were when I met her, she was a little standoffish with me, cause she's also like, over here, foreigners feel, they poke their chest out a little bit because the difference in economy and things like that. And there's some women, and I assume men also, not to make it like a woman thing, but some people over here, it phases them. And some people over here is like you get me, like, come on. So when we first met, I met her through a friend. We were all going out, and he invited her along with like some other friends that she came with, and she was a little standoffish. You feel me? I had to look for her a little bit, and then once we started talking a little bit more, that's when I found out, all these other things. I'm like, wait, they're talking to me about Polo and Hilfiger and Wu-Tang and.
She got like a 90s hip hop soul.
She's literally, So, and like, my friends from back home, they know, like, you get in my car, I'm playing Biggie, and I'm playing Wu-Tang, and she got cream tatted on her fingers, like, you feel me, like she's in it, and I liked it, I loved it, I thought it was interesting, especially you come over here, it's such a different culture, so I'm like, I'm like, you know more about what I like than girls back home, times 10, like for sure. So on like the sharing interest kind of thing and all that thing, we clicked off rip. And then, you know, she's from Medellin. My family is from Cali. You know, we're both Colombian. Our cultures, say family value, they overlap a lot.
But for somebody who like, I had a gentleman ask me like, how would he be able to find like love or something along those lines?
All right. So there's you know, there's love, I guess, a real relationship, right? Like what I was saying, like with strong fundamentals, foundation, and there's things that are like pasajero, you know, it's just like come and goes. And a lot of foreigners come over here and try to use money as their in. You got me? And if you try to use money as your in, or you know,
you're gonna get what you're gonna get.
You're gonna get what you're gonna get. You got me? You're gonna get, you know, I'm not gonna say gold digger, but roughly, you know,
that's
somebody
that's offering.
That's somebody's gonna focus in on what you're offering. Exactly. You know, you're a car salesman. I'm gonna go to you, buy some cars. You know, you give me some cash. I might pull over and get some cash. So there's some, you know, there's some guys that do it like that. And I don't think that's the way, unless that's what you're after. Because like you said earlier, you know, different strokes with different folks. People like, I like a relationship that's real. You got me? Like, if I'm going through, you know, all the shit I just be going through just in general, I can't have somebody who is more weight on top of me because I got to worry about all the things I got to provide for you or give you, and you're not really giving me nothing. So it's not like, you got me? Because if I help out my girl with whatever she needs, you got me? She pours back into me, we pour into each other. So it's not like I'm getting exhausted. It's not like I'm getting burnt out because we're helping each other. So I guess my route was just going the interest route. Find somebody who you actually connect with. Yeah, you could take them out on a nice date. I'm not saying go take them to like the chicken shack or something because you don't want to say, hey, like you don't want to flaunt too much money and draw them in like that. But there is a way to go to a nice restaurant, have a genuine conversation, and know how you're meeting somebody.
You're gonna have to speak Spanish to have a genuine conversation, right? For the most part.
For the most part, but you might find a young lady that wants to learn a little bit of English, and she knows a little bit of English already, or a lot of bit of English. Like for example, my girl's sister's husband, right? Okay. He speaks great English, and he's born and raised Spice out here his whole life also, and he speaks very good English. He speaks to me in English just to like joke around. You feel me? I get just to like flex his muscles a little bit, but he speaks great English. So you could find it. There's girls over here that speak English too. But one thing that I also like to say is that we're Americans. We're so arrogant sometimes. You know, it's like we're gonna move to a different country. We want them to speak English. It's like you're moving over here. It's like the same. You know, you go over there. It's like they speak English. It behooves you to try to speak English.
I recommend people to learn the language. Like I'm progressively learning language. For me, all my staff speaks English, right? And because they're supporting companies in the United States, so it's like a prerequisite of the job. Yeah. So with them, I don't get to practice. My practice is like with the security guards, with the supermarket, with the taxi driver. And it's good to practice and have these conversations. And like I said, Medellin is very welcoming, very, you know, you're not gonna go to a security guard and he's gonna see that you speak. Not around here. You got me? Maybe in el centro, they might take advantage a little bit if they notice, but around here they're just gonna help you and they're gonna try to, you know, they'll speak with you, they'll take it slow so you know you could. But it's good to practice, it's good to learn. I got lucky because I learned Spanish and English obviously at the same time. My mom said I had this weird habit that I would say, like when I was like starting to learn how to speak, to like when I was like 5 or something or 6, I would say everything in English and then Spanish, anything. So like a plant, I'll say like plant, mata, everything. You would. I would talk double both. Like a weirdo. Yeah, I would just. You wouldn't know which one. What? I would just repeat it. Like you get me? Like, am I supposed to speak in Spanish or English? I don't know. Gotcha. So I would just say both, so that whoever is listening knows. Yeah. Gotcha. What would be your overall advice for someone who's watching or listening and has been thinking about coming here? I would tell them to come out here. I always say make the leap. There's a big expat community over here. I know I keep talking about Central, but I go there a lot because it's like what I do for work, right? There's always a tour. You know, every time I go to the center, there's a tour of like 20 foreigners. You know, mostly English speaking because you hear them walking by. So there is a community here. If you want to come, if you want to explore,
There's people. There's an expat Medellin group in Facebook. I think I'm not in it. I don't use socials. I only use socials for brand needs and all that, but I don't use personal socials. But I know that group exists. So somebody could find something to do. There's expats that set up soccer games at X Park or whatever, and people will go, and you could play. You get a workout and go to the gym. Over here, there's a lot to do. I would say come over here and stay busy and explore, try new things, go to a boxing class, try out a new gym that has like a day pass, go to a dancing class, go whatever you had to do. I've been living here, I guess cumulatively with everything, like 2 years, right? And I still haven't explored like nowhere near all the stuff I want to explore, For people that are artsy, I love going to a museum. I'll put Jay-Z and go to MoMA when I was like in Jersey. I'll take a train, New York, go to MoMA, and just listen to some albums. And you could do the same thing over here. You listen to your music, go to some museums, some nice museums. Museo Arte Moderno is cool. Casa Memorias is cool. So I think it's a great place to come and explore. I would actually recommend for somebody who's planning to take the vacation over here if you're not gonna come and move over here at once, obviously, because you like to test the waters, stay an extended amount of time. Because sometimes people go for like a weekend trip or like a week trip. If you could make the 2 to 4 weeks happen at once your first stay here, it's worth it. Because like I said, there's a lot to get to know, and you're gonna want to get to know everything. You get me? Once you start exploring and you start getting loose, you feel in the city, you start getting comfortable, you're gonna want to explore a lot. My mom's came to visit me since I moved over here. I want to say like 3-4 times. And we never have enough time to look at everything and do everything we want to do. So it's a great place to come.
Oh man, I appreciate you coming out here.
Sharing your experience. No, of course. Thank you.
And where can people find you if they want to get more advice? I know that you as somebody who's living here can give them some pretty good insight, but you also are a consultant that works with businesses that are looking to kind of move into their growth phase. So if somebody wanted to work with you, a lot of our viewers are kind of following me for business advice. Of course. Where could they hit you up to get maybe some assistance?
Of course, like I said a little bit ago, I don't manage any personal social media accounts. I know it's a little bit counterintuitive to the way we do business this day and age and all that, but I don't know. I really get deep into my work. I just lock in, I focus. And any social media I need to do, I just do it from the business page. So our business Instagram is by all means community. Just exactly like that how it's written. By all means, everybody knows that saying, right? And then community, because I'm trying to build out a community of creatives, of independent brand owners, independent music artists, just in different capacities. And they could reach out to me there through DM. Also, if you want to reach me like through email, it's just my full name, which is George Andres. I know it's super long, at Gmail, but it'll be worth it. We'll have a conversation and then I'll see however I can help out. Definitely. Thank you. That was fun.
Yeah.
Thank you.